the short. Popped up right to Kell. Out number 2 for Montreat.
Now batting the first baseman, number 24, Megan Armstrong.
So Megan Armstrong now up to bat, first at bat of the day, first baseman.
Morehouse over at first, 25 stolen bases on the season. Expect Johnson may put her in motion here with 2 outs.
Could be dangerous with the 363 hitter of Megan Armstrong.
Pitch catches the outside corner. For strike 1 on Armstrong.
And just as you talked about, she can take a bag and she'll make her way to second.
I tell you. Don't leave your wallet anywhere around her because she's good at stealing bases. I don't know about wallets per se, but stolen base either way for Morehouse.
Now she'll take that next pitch, be a bit more outside. Brings it to a 3-1 count.
Hitters count here for Armstrong. 2 outs, Morehouse will be moving on contact, and with her speed, anything gets through the outfield, she will score.
And Megan Armstrong, 11 doubles on the season, so she is a dangerous player to where if she hits it right in that double with the runner in scoring position, you could have someone coming home. But that will bring it to a full count.
She took a hack at it.
She was going for it.
Couldn't catch up to the fastball. Runs the count full.
Alcantar takes the pitch. Another swing and a miss, punch him out, and that ends the inning. So 1 hit, 1 runner left on base. And we are in the zeros. We will go to the top of the second where we're going to see Montreat come back to bat, and you'll have your designated player of Reed who will be looking to bat. But we'll be right back, and we'll see what happens. Can Montreat get on the board, get some base runners, and can they get another hit or more and string along some runs? After this break, here with AAC Softball Championships in Kingsport, Tennessee. And now we go into the top of the second. Michaela Reed leading off this inning, 268 hitter. 22 hits on the season, 2 doubles, 3 triples, 17 RBIs. As Weber finds that outside zone, that will be called strike. And she looks to try to find the outside zone again. A little bit low on the outside, Jeff. What'd you see on that?
Yeah, missed just a little bit on the outside. It looks like she's not really wanting to challenge Reed right away with anything over the middle of the plate. She comes back inside. I expect something with some velocity or movement on it.
Brings it to a 2-1 count in this situation. And this is where the part of the bracket gets very interesting because the winner of this game will not play again until Wednesday. And they will play the winner of the Reinhardt and the Columbia, well, now CIU game.
Right, and that's the thing. You get a day off, and sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing because you come out here and you win. You're playing really well, and I think a lot of times when that happens, you want to keep playing.
Right. Like at that point, your muscle memory is still going. Your momentum is still ready to go, but gives you an opportunity to see what you'll be playing up against tournament-wise. Obviously, all of these teams have seen each other, but again, it's different when it comes into tournament play. Swing and a miss, that will be another strikeout. That will be strikeout number 3 for Lindy Weber. Already retiring a lot of batters,
Now
especially with the
batting
leadoff
third
batter.
baseman, number 34, Jasmine
Yeah,
Rochelle.
Weber setting them up, mowing them down. 3 strikeouts here. And we are just in the top of the second inning. And see what a fantastic pitcher she is for Johnson University.
His first pitch called a ball. Jasmine Rochelle up to bat. She is a 283 hitter on the season. 32 hits, 2 doubles, 2 triples, 4 home runs. Hit off the leg of her. That is going to go down as a foul ball. 1-1 count. And again, for Montreat, this has been a very impactful season for them. First appearance since 2018. They were 32-14 in the season. Nice hit into that gap. And she's going to look to make her way to second. And that is going to be a smooth double right into that left center.
Yeah, heady base running right there, and that's the thing when you round first on a ball hit to left center field, you have a really good read where the softball is. You can see if the fielder catches it cleanly, you can see where the shortstop or second baseman is to go to take the throw, and just heads up base running right there to sort of steal an extra base.
And then the outfield, Ballrich and Burns, they both had the right idea to try to throw out at second if possible, and it was a well-timed throw, but just with the speed of Rochelle, you're not catching her when she gets to second and slides.
No, she's Rochelle, a lot of speed and athleticism. As you know, that's been a trend we've seen all day long, Deshaun.
Absolutely. Dayton Kell up to bat, 324 hitter. That was fouled off. Brings to 0-2 count. Dayton Kell, 35 hits on the season, 4 doubles. So that's an outside pitch that brings it to a 1-2 count.
Montreat in a really good situation right here. Only 1 out, a runner on second. Good hitter in the form of Dayton Kell at the plate. Looking to draw first blood here in this AAC tournament matchup.
Bit jammed up on that hit with hitting that foul territory. Had the right idea. And this is the 4 and 5 game. And these teams, again, they split earlier in the season. And right now, you're seeing that these two teams, they're very familiar with each other. Montreat, very hungry team in this conference tournament. They want to make a statement and prove that this is not showing up for 2 games and just going back to Montreat to say, hey, we finally made it to postseason. This is a statement they want to make and make their statement to go to Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and that's one of the things, you know, when Montreat, like a lot of schools in this conference, they're very successful athletically, obviously successful academically as well. But you know, just you can't be happy just to get here, and I think Montreat, the Cavaliers, want to go as far as they can, and like you said, Deshaun, just show everybody what they're made of.
That's also hitting the foul territory. So Kell is competing at bat right now. Giving Weber a reason to try to find her zone. 1 out on the board. Kell would love to make her way and force her to throw another ball and then make her way to first. Inside pitch brings it to a full count.
It's a good spot from Weber that time. A little low and inside, trying to get Kell to chase. Showing that discipline at the plate.
That's Kell.
That is caught in foul territory.
Great contact on the ball. Playable ball, but gotta love the outfield play from Burns, chasing after that, bringing a second out on the board. So they have Hernandez, who will be making her way up to bat.
Number 27, Alana Hernandez.
Yeah, Reese Burns out in left field, showing her range. Had to cover a lot of territory to get over and record the out from Kell in foul territory.
Pitch right down the middle in that zone, brings it to 0-1 count. Beautiful pitch. So now she'll look to take this next pitch. Michelle still on second in scoring territory. As now you have a 1-1 count. Last pitch was a ball. A lot of speed down the middle on that, finding the zone. Swing and a miss, 1-2 count.
Yeah, Hernandez took a cut at that one. Just couldn't catch up to the fastball. But I do like her aggressiveness, trying to catch up to it.
Outside pitch brings it to a 2-2. 2-2 count, 2 outs. Second inning. Deuces are wild.
Twos all across the board here in Kingsport, Tennessee.
And 2 in the circle. Taking his next pitch. That one hitting the foul territory. Hitting right over the fence. So keeping it a 2-2 count. Weber taking his next pitch. Hernandez continuing the battle at the plate.
And that's what that has to be your approach against a quality pitcher like Weber. You have to have quality at bats. You know, even if you get in there and you foul some pitches off, and the more pitches you can see, the more it's going to pay off for you in the long run.
That one a bit high. Brings it to a full count. Montreat looking to try to continue this inning. A lot of speed, swing and a miss. Made her swing on that. That will end it. One runner left stranded on second.
No runs.
Keeps it at zeros on the board. What did you see from Johnson to continue to hold their composure after giving up a hit, especially that double to left center?
Well, I think it's easy to hold your composure when you have a player like Lindy Weber in the circle. She's going to deliver high velocity. She's got a lot of movement on her pitches, and she's going to trust her defense behind her. She's going to give up some hits, but at the end, you know, there's the big strikeout, and that is 4 strikeouts on the day for Weber, and that's sort of the equalizer with her in that circle.
And so as we come back from break, you'll see Autumn Kaywood, who's going to be leading off, your designated player for Johnson. We will take a quick break here on SESN for AAC Conference Championships in Kingsport, Tennessee.
Leading off for Johnson, the designated player, number 15, Autumn Kaywood.
As we enter the bottom of the second, Autumn Kaywood is going to be leading off, 324 hitter, 33 hits, 8 doubles, 19 runs scored, 2 home runs, 18 RBIs.
Batting in the 5 spot for Johnson. Gets to be a leadoff hitter here in the bottom of the second inning.
Both teams coming into this 20-8 in conference play. Montreat 32-14 overall, 16-6 at home, 11-3 on the road, 5-5 on neutral site, 20-8 in conference. And then you have Johnson 25-12 overall, 15-3 at home, 8-6 on the road, 2-3 in neutral site play, and 28 in conference.
And that just shows you how hard it is to win in this league. I mean, you'll see a lot of teams sort of protect that home field, that home turf advantage, but on the road sometimes it's a little bit different of a story, you know.
And the advantage Montreat really has is having more of those wins in that neutral site play, and we're in the neutral site now. Obviously for Johnson, you don't really think about the neutral site record, but it does kind of take a toll because you think about no matter where you're at, you still have to play the game.
You're exactly right, Deshaun. And it comes down to game prep. You know, how can you how effectively do you warm up? How effectively? That's a long hit ball.
As Kaywood hits it to the outfield.
That
is gone. Solo shot to left field. Johnson opens the scoring column. Solo home run for Kaywood.
Solo home run.
Kaywood caught that pitch, the middle half of the plate, got her arms extended and drove it over the fence in left field, breaking the scoreless tie, putting Johnson on the board early 1-0. But that's just a great piece of hitting from Autumn Kaywood.
Good night. And that was just great contact. And just with all the power hitting she has, I mean, again, we said she can knock them out. She had already 2 of them on the season. And again, when she connected with that, that was it.
Yeah, I knew when it left the bat, it had a chance, and it seemed like it just carried and carried and carried. She got to touch them all.
So now it's Dickerson at bat. She did foul off on that. Victoria Alcantara right now, 1 inning pitched, 1 run given up, 2 strikeouts. Dickerson, 339 hitter, 38 hits, 10 doubles, 1 triple, 1 home run, 18 RBIs. So Alcantara looks to take this next pitch. A little bit on the outside, high in that zone. That'll be called a ball. Johnson looking to continue their streak. Right now, both teams at 2 hits. Grounds it to short. 6-3 put out. First out.
Nice play over at short by Dayton Kell.
Just a great routine play, making sure to get the put out. And now with left fielder Burns, Reese Burns, 368 hitter, 32 hits, 23 runs scored, 6 doubles, 2 triples, 1 home run, 14 RBIs. As she throws that a little bit high in that zone, that'll be called a ball, 1-0 count. So Montreat, great pitch by Alcantara on that. That brings it to a 1-1 count, finds that zone, a lot of speed on that.
Yeah, it's a good pitch, great location.
As that is hitting the foul territory. Looking on the year, Johnson 356 hits as a team through 37 games. Montreat 378 hits on 46 games.
Pretty pitch, change up.
Drop.
Retires Burns.
2 outs on the board. As that is a drop third strike, and then just getting her out at first.
You'll see that a lot on the changeup, when the changeup's thrown for that drop third strike, because a lot of times it will hit in front of the plate, but you know, designed to fool the hitter, and it's so far out in front of it as Burns was on that one.
A lot of speed on that first pitch as Hampton swung for it all. Victoria Alcantara starting to pick it up as Johnson's looking to be aggressive after that home run in this inning. Only 1 hit given up so far for Montreat in this inning. 0-2 count. Alcantara ahead in the count right now in the circle, looking to try to see what Hampton can do on this next pitch in the plate. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 4 for Alcantara. Hampton now retired.
No errors, none left on base.
And for Montreat,
After 2 full innings.
what did you see for them, how they adjusted after that solo shot?
Well, again, you know, I think you got to look to who's in the circle. Alcantara just seemed like she settled down. She started hitting her spots, kept the Johnson hitters guessing with the change in the speed. She retired Burns on a changeup, got her looking, and sometimes that's all you need when people are expecting fastball and the changeup comes in, or they expecting changeup and the fastball comes in. It's hard to adjust. between those two. But anytime you get 3 outs in an inning, you get a routine ground ball and 2 strikeouts. Even though you do give up a home run, I thought it was a nice bounce back for Montreat in that inning.
And we'll stay on air with this one as we get ready to have Hannah Henderson, who will be leading off for Montreat. Hannah Henderson, first at-bat of the day. If you're Montreat, you have 2 hits already on the board, but you really want to build, get some runners on base. They've already shown they hit that long ball, they can get some runners on. Hannah Henderson, 273 hitter on the season.
Batting in the 9 spot, but more like an extra leadoff hitter. Batting from that left side, looks like she's trying to slap and a slap hitting technique, and use her speed to get on base. And you see that a lot in softball. The 9 hitter is sort of like another leadoff hitter, and it works out really well in innings like this where you go 9-1-2.
And ahead in the count, 3-0 count. Hannah Henderson. You wonder if she we'll see if Weber's going to try to throw it down the middle, which we just saw. Does she go for the green light, or does she try to make her way to first?
I think it's going to depend a lot on what she sees in the ball, how it comes out of Weber's hands.
And that bit more high right there, as you said.
A lot of times with slap hitters, they're taught not to swing at anything above their hands. So, as they are taking their step and approaching the batter's box, if that ball's hand high, they're just going to let it go, as Henderson did there for ball 4.
So Abigail Wyatt up to bat. 0 for 1 on the day. She did strike out on her first at-bat. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, no, she lined out to third. Excuse me. And so now, went for that bunt. Had the right idea, hitting the foul territory. It's going to bring her back.
Yeah, I couldn't get that one down. Like you said, Deshaun, right idea, though, by Wyatt.
Especially when you have a runner on base, you have 0 outs. In that situation, it would definitely have been understood to advance Henderson to second.
Yeah, she's got some speed and can score very easily from second base.
And that could have been so in those situations, on those bunts, the most unfortunate thing is if it pops up like that in foul territory, the catcher can go for it. That's going to go out as an out.
Yeah, and it gets even more dangerous if it's like a bunt and run situation. So if Henderson over at first is on a straight steal, like she would be on a bunt and run, then open yourself up to a double play.
It's the most theatric strikeout I've seen from an umpire today. I love it.
And that's a big strikeout, out number 1. Wyatt not able to sacrifice herself and advance her runner over to second. So Hannah Henderson stranded over at first.
She got caught looking. So now Amaya Hernandez. 1 for 1 on the day. She had a single to center. That was that single to center where the right spot, it was really, unless you could make a dive and catch, you weren't getting to that ball.
A little CNI single for Hernandez.
A lot of heat down the middle, swing and a miss on that. That brings it to another strike. 0-2 count ahead in the count for Weber. Weber so far 2.5 innings, 5 strikeouts, and just 1 walk through 47 pitches. So now Hernandez pops it right to second. And that is Thacker Wolf getting under that to corral that second out for Johnson. So now you'll see number 40, Maggie Knight, who is going to be up to bat. Maggie Knight's last at bat, she did strike out. That was where Lindy Weber threw a lot of heat down the middle, forcing Knight to really swing at a lot of those pitches.
Yeah, and that was when we both commented how much she was bringing the heat. I mean, just almost like she kicked it up another gear in Knight's first at bat.
And understanding how dangerous of a batter Maggie Knight is, the one thing that you mentioned was that for Maggie Knight, she gets on. She's a dangerous hitter, so she gets on is gonna open it up for Montreat, and then she struck her out right after that.
Yeah, just a good performance by Weber, and even you look at this inning, she started things off with a leadoff walk, and she gets a strikeout and a pop out, and right back in business when she could have been in a little bit of trouble.
As that goes down, it's a strike, 3-1 count. So 3-1 count. Johnson does lead one after that solo shot. You have Henderson on first, and that is strike 4, a full count.
Yeah, fell behind in this count, did Weber. Battle back to run it full.
And as Henderson was always making her way to second, she was definitely going to steal. It's going to be second walk of this inning. Maggie Knight now makes her way to first. Now Fefke will look to have her second at bat. She did strike out in her first at bat.
Fefke, a 303 hitter on the season, playing left field today for Montreat. Can likely tie this one up with a single here.
First pitch called strike on that next pitch. So now 0-1 count. Knight on first, Henderson on second. And getting ahead in the count, 0-2. 0-2 count, 2 runners on, 2 outs as we are in that top of the third. Pitch number 57 coming as that was called a ball.
3 great pitches from Weber. That one nearly missed, almost rang her up with a backwards K.
Now Weber takes that next pitch. Another swing and a miss. That will go down as strikeout number 6 for Lindy Weber. So with 2 runners left on, Montreat held scoreless. Johnson will now have another opportunity to build their lead and see if they can continue their momentum and potentially add another run. We will find out after this quick break here on SESN at AAC Softball Championships in Kingsport, Tennessee. Bottom of the third inning, Madison Hood will be leading off for Johnson. First at bat. Johnson at the moment still at 2 hits. Montreat still at 2 hits. Victoria Alcantara now back in the circle. 2 innings pitched, 1 earned run. 4 strikeouts in that circle. So another situation, both pitchers are striking these batters out.
Yeah, it's and we've seen some pitching duels today, but a lot of the earlier games there weren't as many strikeouts, and that just speaks to the talent and ability of the 2 pitchers that we're seeing here today. Alcantara for Montreat and Lindy Weber for Johnson University. Just 2 phenomenal pitchers in the circle on full display here on the Southeast Sports Network.
And it's Alcantara with a great first pitch called strike. Now she'll look to take this next pitch. Madison Hood. Right down the middle. Now ahead in the count.
Yeah, it was a pretty pitch. Threw it right under her hands. And that's one of those pitches, if you're going to swing and you're going to hit that one, you gotta commit to that early.
Oh, yeah. Had to be right mindset as that was a little bit outside. Called a ball. Madison Hood, 277 hitter. 26 hits on the season, 14 runs scored, 5 doubles, 12 RBIs, 7 stolen bases.
Both these teams going with a lot of speed and athleticism in the 9-hole.
Umpire said she did not go. That brings it to a 2-2 count. I think this is the second time I've seen where the catcher will point to the umpire to ask if she went.
Trying to help her battery mate out.
Alcantara takes that pitch. High in the zone. That brings it to a full count. Now Madison Hood will look to battle. See if she can get on the bags from her first at bat. And she'll get on the bags from a walk. All teams say they love free bases. Jeff, what do you think about that?
I think they do. And, usually that's a bad sign for the defense when you give up that leadoff walk. We saw Johnson do that in the last inning, and we're able to get out of it. Now we will see if Montreat can do the same.
And now the second free base, as that one did hit by pitch. So Baldridge now will make her way to first. Hood makes her way to second. Runner in scoring position. Morehouse, second at bat. First at bat she had was a bunt single. And that was the bunt single where that was just a hard – it would have been tough to try to ground that. Rochelle had the right idea, but great placement, great speed. And she was considering going for the bunt again.
Yeah, Johnson playing a little small ball here. Trying to bunt runners over to second and third. Maybe sacrifice Morehouse, but she's got a lot of speed, very capable of legging one out. We saw her do that in the first inning.
And just as we talked about, just as you mentioned, pop up and going into a double play.
The old dreaded 2-4 double play. And just when we thought that Johnson had a great opportunity, instead of having no outs, they've got 2 outs, a runner still at second, but a great play by Montreat.
As that is now the second double play of the inning. Well, the second double play of the tournament, not the inning, but that is 2 outs. But
the second baseman, Madison Thacker.
That last pitch kind of went past the catcher. That advances a runner to third. That is Madison Hood.
Now runner on third with 2 outs. Madison Thacker Wolf trying to drive one in here.
Swing and a miss on that last pitch. 1-1 count.
Got that pitch up elevated in her eyes, and Thacker Wolf couldn't really decide if she wanted to swing or not. Sort of a half-hearted effort at that one.
Kind of delayed on it as well. Felt like she considered watching it.
That's what those pitches will do when you throw it up, elevated in the zone. It's not a great pitch to hit, but it's a hard pitch to lay off of. So you'll see a lot of swings and misses on those super elevated fastballs.
So now 1-2 count, 2 outs on the board. Hood on third. Alcantara will look to take this next pitch for Montreat. Bit more on the outside in that zone. Brings it a 2-2 count. Deuces are now wowed.
Yeah, that pitch designed to get the batter to chase, swing at something out of the zone. Thacker Wolf, a lot of discipline not to hack at that one.
That one a bit low in the zone. Full count now. With Thacker Wolf at bat, just earlier it was a much different situation. Because you had no outs on the board.
Yeah, you're in the on deck circle thinking you're going to get up to the plate maybe with 1 out, and all of a sudden you've got 2. But Thacker Wolf draws a 2-out walk, and runners on the corners now for the Royals.
And that's also just great awareness by the catcher, Henderson. Knowing it's getting popped up right to where she's at and then throwing it straight to first to throw her out. As now Johnson will now bring in another run, as that was Armstrong. right up the middle for a single RBI.
Just a great piece of hitting by Megan Armstrong. Takes the first pitch, delivers it into center field, for a 2-out RBI single to put another run on the board for Johnson.
So now Autumn Kaywood, her second at bat, as that was thrown right down the middle. And Jeff, if you remember that first at bat for Kaywood,
Ball's still going.
I don't know if we're gonna find it. It might be. It might end up where Montreat is at in North Carolina.
Got out of here in a hurry.
Hit escape, it keeps the count, which is nice. But then,
So with 2 runners on,
takes the pitches away. So really, whatever happens.
as you have Thacker Wolf, who is on second after advancing first from a walk, and then advancing from Armstrong's base hit.
Pretty change up right there. Alcantara
Beautiful.
just dropped that one right in.
Yeah,
beautiful
that's what
change
I
up.
always go down and close it, but
Those are the type of pitches I will always say. If you're a young pitcher that is trying to play collegiate ball and you're still trying to understand how you want your changeup to look, watch that pitch that we just saw.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You've got to have an effective changeup at this level. And that one was a dandy from Alcantara.
And as you mentioned a great point, having an effective changeup at this level, it just adds more value into that toolbox of yours if you're in the circle.
It definitely does, and it you change the speed, and it's hard for hitters to vary in, dial in on one pitch. A lot of power hitters, they can crush a fastball, but if you keep them off balance with that changeup, they can't just sit back and wait on the heater.
Absolutely. It's now 2-2 count. Kaywood looking to battle. 2 runners on. Kaywood pops it straight to second. So Montreat will escape this inning, only giving up only 1 run. 2-0 lead. Johnson leads. 1 hit. 2 left on base. So
to the 4th inning, Johnson now leads 2-0.
as we go into the top of the 4th, again, we're rolling. Both teams coming out fast pace. But yeah, we're in that fast paced situation right now. We'll see Michaela Reed, who is going to be leading off. Jeff, what you see in that last inning?
Well, the last inning, Johnson had a chance to really bust this one open. Bunted into the double play, the 4-2 or the 2-4, double play, and then followed that up with a single, and it scored 1 run, but it could have scored a lot more, obviously. But that's why this game is a little bit quirky and why so many people love it. But now Montreat coming to the plate, down 2-0, going against a very good pitcher in Lindy Weber. They've had some chances, had some runners on. They've just got to continue with that, try to get a few across home plate and try to tie this one up.
And I'm recognizing the trend as we're in game 3. Johnson with 3 hits, Montreat with 2 hits. We're seeing a trend of just discipline on the defensive side.
Yeah, great defensive softball teams here in this tournament on display, and that's what you want. If you want to win championships, you've got to have a high fielding percentage, which means you have very few mistakes, and we've seen that here thus far. A lot of clean softball.
Absolutely, because as you get deeper into the tournament, as far as the conference tournament, then go to the national tournament, and then the World Series, you're not going to always see those high-scoring, 8-6 games all the time. You might see a 1-0 game, a 2-0 game, and it might come down to the 6th or the 7th inning, like we saw in Game 1 with Columbia and CIU.
Yeah, and who in those winning minutes, in those winning innings, who's going to make a big play for their team to separate them and get them on to victory.
And so now Michaela Reed will make her way to first base. 4-pitch walk, 0 outs on the board. Jasmine Rochelle, 1 for 1 on the day, third baseman. That double to the left center. Now has another attempt at bat.
The 2nd inning in a row that Weber has started off with a leadoff walk. The last inning, Johnson able to get out of danger. Can they do it again?
So as that last pitch was hitting the foul territory, bounced right off the cage.
Anytime you give up a leadoff walk to start the inning, more often than not, you also give up a run.
A lot of speed from Lindy Weber on that. 3 innings pitched so far, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. That last pitch was called a strike, 0-2 count. So now Weber takes the pitch. Try to go a little bit further on the inside. That will be called a ball, 1-2 count.
Montreat showing no signs thus far of bunting Reed over to second.
Ball a bit more high, brings it to a 2-2 count. So 2-2 count, 0 outs on the board. Michaela Reed on first. Rochelle at bat. As now she'll get some contact on that hit, gets it into the outfield. Burns with the put out in left.
And that's how you get out of an inning where you have a leadoff walk. You get a couple fly ball outs, a couple strikeouts, and just really keep that runner over there at first base. Once again, Johnson did that in the 3rd inning, or was able to do that in the 3rd inning, having to deal with it again here in the top of the 4th.
So now Dayton Kell up the bat, 0 for 1 on the day. Last at bat was fouled off into left field. That first pitch was called a strike. It's now Kell.
It's down.
Right place, right time. It's now Reed's going to make her way to third.
Great base running by Reed. When she left first, she saw the ball was down, and she knew that there was no chance she could throw her out. She never hesitated going around second, slid in at third, even though I didn't think it was necessary. But she's safe either way. Runners on the corners for the Montreat Cavaliers here in the top of the 4th.
The second baseman, number
that
27.
single to right center for Kell. That placement where she hit it, it was hard to really get to, which helped Reed. Great awareness for her to see on second to just keep advancing, go to third, slide there, don't try to advance home.
Yeah, it was a great base running.
That's not Hernandez. Went for the bunt. That does go down as a strike, 0-1 count, 1 out on the board. Montreat in great situation right now. Runner on first, runner in scoring position on third. Hernandez, 0 for 1 on the day, 1 strikeout so far, and she'll now get the bunt.
Well, nice defense by Johnson.
So instead of just trying to get Hernandez out, had the right idea. Weber tossed it home. Didn't go for the chase down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You run the suicide squeeze there, but Hernandez bunted it straight back to the pitcher. So Weber was able to field it, throw it home, and the runner Reed was going to be out dead to rights if she would have tried to come home. Turns, goes back to third, and is put out as she tried to get back to third. But I really like the play. The suicide squeeze puts a lot of pressure on the defense, but the bunt has to be executed a little better than it was on that last attempt.
And it makes you really have to figure out exactly what your next move is, but you really have a split second to figure out what that next move is going to be.
In softball, so many times you'll hear coaches say speed and direction. The speed and direction of the ball will determine where your play is, and that ball was bunted straight back to the pitcher, and she had plenty of time to keep that run from scoring.
So as Henderson did hit that in the foul territory, 0-2 count, 2 outs on the board. Johnson looking to try to escape this inning. That pitch a bit high in the zone.
Runners on first and second with 2 outs.
Weber looking to take this next pitch. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 7 for Lindy Weber. She is just putting on a clinic in the circle right now. Leaves 2 runners stranded. Montreat kept scoreless. How did Johnson escape that inning, Jeff?
They're flirting with disaster, but they're able to get out of it. You give up the leadoff walk, and you come back and get the fly out to left field, and you give up a single, and then you have the play at home, the botched suicide squeeze, if you will, and the runner out between third and home for out number 2, and then Lindy Weber doing what Lindy Weber does, striking people out, and just like that, Johnson out of a jam once again, taking this 2-run lead to the bottom of the 4th inning.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and we'll see what will happen. Can Johnson build their lead even more? We'll come back and find out here on SESN on AAC Softball Championships in Kingsport, Tennessee.
Third baseman, number 10, Allie Dickerson.
So Allie Dickerson will be leading off this inning. Allie Dickerson, 0 for 1 on the day so far. Last at bat was a 6-3 put out. That last pitch was hitting the foul territory.
The Royals with this two-run lead, looking to add to it here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
And you have to wonder if Montreat can continue the discipline. Obviously, yes, with those two, with the solo shot home run, and then just with that, some of those base hits, for them to be down. Montreat still is in it, and there's still a lot of softball to be played only in the 4th inning. Anything can happen.
Plenty of time.
Last pitch low in that zone brings it to a 2-1 count. Victoria Alcantara, 50 total pitches, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, 3 innings pitched. Now Allie Dickerson looking to take this next pitch from Alcantara. And that is going to be hitting the foul territory. If that was not hitting the foul territory, that could have been a disaster just because I had bobbled off the glove at third.
Yeah, that would have been a E5 and a free base, so to speak, for Dickerson.
And depending on how that ball rolls, she could potentially have considered advancing, but I'm pretty sure they probably would have left that first. As Dickerson pops it straight to second. For that put out, that is going to be Hernandez. 1 out on the board.
The left fielder.
Hernandez having a great game over there at second base. We've seen her make some nice plays. Had to show a little range in that one. Went out to shallow right field to record that out. Out number 1 here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Hernandez so far. 2 putouts. Hannah Henderson 4 putouts. Dayton Kell 1 putout with an assist. So now 0-1 count. As that's hit right up the middle. Perfect spot right into that gap. That'll be hit number 3 for Johnson. As Burns attacked that gap with essence.
Yeah, just a nice piece of hitting. You know, didn't try to do too much with it. Ball was on the inside part of the plate. She just muscled it out into right field for a 1-out single.
And now you bring Hampton up the bat with 1 out on the board. That was hitting the foul territory. Would not be surprised with Burns on first. With the speed that she has, could she try to steal that bag on second?
That's definitely a possibility. You only have 1 out.
And as we talk about it, goes right up the middle, and then Burns will advance to to second and now third.
Yeah, once again, great base running by Burns. She just saw that ball down in center field and never took her foot off the gas, going straight to third base.
Back-to-back base hits right up the middle. She now have runners in the corner.
Runners at the corner with only one out, and we're going to have a mound visit and see. A lot of times, Deshaun, you'll see teams here do a little delayed steal, trying to get the throw to go down to second and let the runner on third make it an attempt to go home. So this double, checking up with everybody, figuring out how they're going to play this if indeed it does happen.
And it could definitely be a situation where, depending on what Madison Hood does, on that her last at bat she was walked, but if you have potential, if that is hit near Alcantara is going to try to throw. He's going to try to throw out Burns at home.
Yeah, she's going to try to do everything they can to keep this run from scoring. And, Montreat in this situation here, they need an out, preferably a strikeout or a pop-up in the infield of some kind just to keep the runners from making an attempt to advance. But again, that's easier said than done against a high-quality hitting softball team like Johnson.
Takes the pitch that is on the outside zone. That will bring it to ball. 1-0 count.
Hampton stays put over at first. Now they're getting a call in. See if they put something in action right here.
Great pitch, swing and a miss. Brings to a 1-1 count. So we're in the bottom of the fourth inning. Johnson does lead 2-0. You have Burns on third, Hampton on first. Hampton kind of in that position, maybe potentially looking to go for that steal. That is going to be hitting the foul territory. 1-2 count.
And that's probably better. I mean, you always want to try to make an out, but I think if any of those fielders from Montreat would have caught that ball, they would have been going away from the field of play, and I think it would have given Burns plenty of time to tag up and score from third.
Oh, absolutely. Alcantara takes the pitch. That now is going to be popped up. Right to second. You're going to see Burns look to try to advance to third. And just as you said, takes it all away, especially hitting to that same spot, just staying in. Another run scored.
Yeah, that was just in fair territory. You almost have to catch that one. And, the bright side, Montreat did getting out of it, but the negative side, Burns tags and scores from third and makes it a 3-0 game.
Number 8, Sloan Baldridge.
Now the top of the order up for Johnson was Sloan Baldridge, 346 hitter, runner in scoring position. The Royals would like nothing better than to see a single right here.
That's pitch right on the inside. Brings to a 2-0 count. And right now, got a runner in scoring position on second. 2 outs on the board. Great way to get some contact on that from Baldridge. So now it's a 2-1 count. Alcantara in the circle.
Checking her wristband, getting the pitch.
Kind of same pitch right and a little too far on the inside.
Yeah, got Baldridge dancing a little bit in that batter's box.
So now a 3-1 count. Alcantara looking to try to get back with this next pitch. And that will bring on another walk. Free base. Baldridge will make her way to first. That will be Alcantara's third walk in the circle.
Audrey Morehouse.
Morehouse now will take this next at bat. Last at bat. She last at bat started that double play where she went for the bunt, popped up, caught, thrown out at first.
Yeah, sort of a little bit of a rally killer back in the third inning for Johnson. Chance to redeem herself here.
Great pitch by Alcantara.
Beautiful changeup.
Just as you talked about, those are those situations where your mind's not really made up because of the changeup and how beautiful it is, so you don't know if you really are going to swing at it or not.
That first pitch comes in a fastball, and then you throw that changeup, and it's about 10, 12 miles an hour slower, and just disrupts the timing of a hitter, and then follows that up with a strike on the outside corner. Great series of pitches from Alcantara.
Now ahead in the count, 1-2, 2 outs on the board, 2 runners on the bag. And that's a great dive.
Yeah, just a great piece of hitting right there from Morehouse. The left-handed hitter just fought that one off, hit it in the 5-6 hole. Couldn't come up with a play, but that's an infield hit all the way.
Absolutely. Kel had the right idea, diving, trying to get her out at third. But that's a tough play to make.
Baseman. Number 7, Madison Thacker Wolf.
Absolutely. Now the bases are full of Royals with 2 outs. Madison Thacker Wolf coming to the plate.
Ball low on that first pitch. That brings a 1-0 count. Now,
3-0 Johnson with them looking to add a few more.
oh, and that's a situation where you don't want it to get right past you. Bit high. That helps Hampton advance home. Another run.
Yeah, it looked like that one just hit off the end of the catcher's mitt. It was over her head, and it's tangled up back there between her and the home plate umpire. Allows another run to score. 4-0 now, Johnson. Add to that lead here in the 4th inning.
2-0 count. 2 outs. And now 2 runners in scoring position. Great pitch by Alcantara. That brings it to a strike.
Yeah, it was a great pitch. Deshaun was outside corner, paints that outside corner right at the knees.
And honestly, Alcantara, she's thrown some great pitches throughout this entire game.
She has, and Johnson's just been able to barrel a couple up, get the ball in play, move some runners around, and that's part of softball.
That's just it happens. Goes for that same location, finds the zone, full count, 2 outs on the board. Can Montreat escape this inning and leave 2 runners on and get another opportunity going into the 5th?
You'd have to feel that even though they did give up 2 runs, you'd have to think they'd feel pretty good about, getting out of it with just giving up 2 runs.
That was hitting the foul territory. Another attempt at bat. Thacker Wolf, 0 for 1 on the day so far. Last at bat was a walk, and then she popped up to short. As now that will be another 6-3 put out, and Johnson will end the inning, adding 2 runs, leading 4-0. So in that situation, what did we see from Johnson to add those 2 runs, and how did they take the advantage over Montreat?
Well, you first batter in the 4th inning flew out, then you had a single, the sacrifice fly to score 1 runner, a walk, and then another RBI single. So, just timely hitting from Johnson, doing a good job on the bases, and when you do that, you're gonna push a few across, and they pushed 2 across in the 4th inning.
And we'll take us a quick break. As we go into the top of the 5th inning, Johnson leads 4-0 here on SESN at AAC Softball Championships in Kingsport, Tennessee.
First pitch swung on and singled into left field by Montreat, the leadoff hitter, number 42, Abby Wyatt. Nice piece of hitting right there to get things started for the Cavaliers. And this is the 3rd inning in a row that Montreat's had the leadoff runner aboard.
And Abby Wyatt wasted no time on that. Saw that first pitch, saw that she can get some contact on it. Right place, right time, perfect spot.
Now Montreat trying to advance the leadoff runner. Do they bunt her over or let Hernandez swing away, a .397 hitter?
That pitch a bit high. Brings it to a 2-0 count. Lindy Weber in the circle. 4 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. Going on pitch number 80. That a bit high in the zone. Now Hernandez with the advantage. 3-0 count. And that brings it to a 4-pitch walk. So now you have 2 runners on. Wyatt advances to second. Hernandez will advance to first from a walk.
The first baseman, number 40.
Maggie Knight coming to bat, the number 3 hitter for Montreat. Haley Fethke, the cleanup hitter in the on-deck circle. And Montreat has something cooking here in the top of the 5th inning.
Looking to knock on the door. 0 outs on the board. And that is 5 balls in a row for Weber.
A little bit uncharacteristic of Weber. We've not seen that from her thus far in the first 4 innings.
And now she'll get that right up in the middle of that zone. 1-1 count down for a strike.
Now Knight's ready to hit. She's seen a couple. She's ready to swing away.
Got some contact on that. That does go into foul territory. But, yeah, you can tell she knows what pitches is coming. So now for her, can she get contact, find a good spot, try to advance Wyatt and Hernandez over.
Yeah, she was looking at that one just a tad bit late, fouled it off down the third base line. Oh, nice catch.
Got some contact on it. That does go into foul territory. And with that, Dickerson does collect the out. Just way to chase after that.
Yeah, that's one of those free outs we're talking about earlier in today's games. And that's a big out, number 1 for Johnson here in this 5th inning.
Weber now, first pitch strike, 0-1 count. Still have Wyatt and Hernandez on the base paths. 1 out on the board. Weber with the outside pitch.
What a play.
That's a great play.
What a play.
So Hernandez will advance to second, stealing, but Wyatt will be out, being caught stealing at third.
That pitch was outside the catcher for Johnson. Ella Hampton had to come out of her crouch, go across her body, and the runner at second tried to be a little advantageous, but she was gunned down at third for out number 1.
And that is going to drop. You're going to see if Johnson can get the out. They will not. Hernandez will advance home. That will go down as a RBI single. Fethke right in front of the left fielder. That's a great placement on the hit.
The DP, number 25.
So now you have Michaela Reed at bat. Fethke on first. There is 2 outs on the board after the caught stealing, but no shutout. Will it be? Montreat now 2 outs, looking to try to build more and add another run in this inning.
You know, you woulda, coulda, shoulda, Deshaun, but had Wyatt not been thrown out at third, 2 runs would have scored right there.
Absolutely.
To cut this lead in half, but can't fault her effort.
That pitch a little bit far inside. That goes down as a ball. Gets ahead in the count for a 2-0. Michaela Reed now 0 for 1 on the day. Last at bat, she did make her way to the base pad with the walk.
Pretty pitch right there from Weber. Right on the inside part of the plate.
So a trend I keep saying with Weber is, even if it does go down as a ball and if she's behind on the count, she'll come back and give you a very great pitch in that strike zone. As you're seeing now, it's a 2-2 count, just with starting off as a 2-0 count. And she'll find her way back.
Oh, she will, and it's a testament to her and her ability. But when you get behind consistently to good hitters, eventually somebody's going to make you pay. They're going to be standing on that, fastball. And
as now, you have 2 runners on. Michaela Reed advances. That will bring the 5th walk for Weber. Fefke now in second.
The third baseman, number 34, Jasmine Rochelle.
Now Jasmine Rochelle up to bat. Jasmine Rochelle double to left center, and then she had an F7 at her second at bat. First pitch hit in the foul territory.
chance for her here to tack another run on. 2 base runners on for Montreat will both obviously be moving on contact. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning. Johnson on top 4-1. Montreat already 1 run here in the 5th, but threatening to add more.
Look to get some contact on that last one as well. That brings it to an 0-2 count. Weber ahead in the count, looking to see if she can go for number 8 in the circle as far as a punch out. Jasmine Rochelle battling very great at the plate. Has gotten contact on majority of those pitches so far.
Yeah, that was just a tad bit behind on that one. But that's the thing. You sit up there and foul a bunch of pitches off, it sort of helps your confidence. You're going to see one you can get a hold of.
As that goes on the outside, goes down as a ball, 1-2 count.
That's a changeup. I think that was designed to get her to chase. It was a little bit out of the zone. Good discipline from Rachel.
Another outside pitch that brings it 2-2 count. Looked like she had the same idea to see if she can chase off of that one. As now she'll pop it up to short. That will end the inning. Montreat ends it with 1 run added in this inning. There was a hit in this inning as well. So for Montreat at this point, you go into the next inning. Your next opportunity will be at the top of the 6th. There's still a lot of time, but what can Montreat do defensively and then take it to the offensive side?
Well, I think they've definitely got to come out here and play a clean half inning right here. You don't want to give Johnson any more momentum, no more insurance runs for the Royals, and then hopefully that positive momentum carries over to the top of the 6th. And Montreat's been able to get runners on. Just got to move them over and get them home, throw together some of those timely hits, and try to claw back in this one.
And we'll take us a quick break. We do see a pitching change, but we'll talk more about her when we come back from this break on SESN here at the AAC Softball Championships in Kingsport, Tennessee.
first baseman, number 24.
So now
Megan Armstrong.
we enter a new inning. We have a new pitcher in the circle. That is going to be number 2, Carter Thornton. Carter Thornton is a senior pitcher out of Downey, Idaho. Previous school was California State University, Bakersfield. She has a 2.38 ERA, 12-4 record, 21 appearances, 21 games started, 4 complete games, 2 shutouts. And that is just a great routine play in the infield for Montreat. So that was Dayton Kell.
Now pitching for Montreat, number 2, Carter Thornton.
Nice pick over at first by Maggie Knight. Dug that one out of the dirt.
Now batting the DP, number 15.
Sends the runner back to the dugout, out number 1, and that's huge if you're Montreat.
So now that first pitch, a bit low, brings it to a ball. K. Wood, 1 for 2 on the day, 1 RBI. Got that solo shot to get Johnson on the board. Looking to try to get her second hit of the day. Thornton with another pitch that brings it 2-0. So Thornton takes this next pitch. K. Wood gets some contact. She'll get it right in the beautiful spot right over third base and in front of left field. Be a single right to left field. That is her second hit of the day. Now 2 for 3.
Nice day at the ballpark for Autumn Kaywood.
Third baseman, number 10, Allie Dickerson.
So in the circle, Victoria Alcantor, her day will be done. She pitched 4 innings, gave up 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and had 78 pitches. So Thornton looking to finish this game off, potentially
For which one?
help rally for Montreat as you have a runner on, 1 out. She'll take this pitch, and 1 on the outside brings it to a 2-0 count. Dickerson is at bat. Dickerson popped up to second at her last at bat.
Thornton, a new pitcher for Montreat, a lot of movement on her curveball.
Beautiful pitch on that. She'll get a strike.
I always ask to work all the championships because they're all right down the road, which makes sense.
And what we've seen really now through 2 games. So the first game we saw just straight pitch and duel all through 7. But now with this being the second game, with beautiful catch in the outfield. Center fielder. That is number 12, Hernandez. Amaya Hernandez is diving forward, making sure to give great effort. That is now 2 outs because that's a situation where you can let it go. But we've seen a situation where
Fielder, number 22.
for certain teams, which Bernal did it against Milligan, and now we're seeing it with Johnson over Montreat, making you use that pitching staff and make you use more arms through this tournament, which this is a long week of softball.
Yeah, and and for the teams that like Montreat in this game that's switching pitchers, Johnson's a very good hitting softball team. So, you bring in a different pitcher with a little more movement or a little different delivery or a different speed, and just keeps them guessing. It keeps them, from getting too comfortable with that first pitcher. And that's sort of what Montreat's here doing here, trying to stop the bleeding and prevent Johnson from scoring any more runs.
Last pitch called a ball. Right now, Johnson with 7 hits on the day compared to Montreat's 5. Drove in 4 runs through those 7 hits. Burns pops that right to the catcher. That is hitting foul territory. That would have wrapped up this inning if she would have corralled that.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that, there's no need to, mention to the catcher, Hannah Henderson. She's going to beat herself up more than anyone else possibly could over not coming up with that one.
Oh, absolutely. So that is heading to foul territory. Keeps it at 2-2 count. So we're in the bottom 5 action. Number 4 seed and number 5 seed game. Reminder, winner of this game will get to advance and play Wednesday. Will not have to play tomorrow. As Burns gets some great contact on that hit. That will wrap up this inning, flying out to right field. So Montreat, disciplined defensively. They will hold Johnson scoreless.
No runs, 1 hit.
How can Montreat offensively now go into this top of the 6th?
Well, I think it all comes down to approach. You know, how they're going to approach each at bat, and a lot of pressure on this. Leadoff hitter here in this inning. Dayton Kell will lead things off for Montreat, but the last 3 innings, the leadoff runner for the leadoff batter for the Cavaliers has reached base each time. So, if you can get that leadoff batter on, get them over into scoring position, then that's when those timely hits have to come into play. And that's the recipe to crawl back in this one. Now, obviously, they would take a 2 or 3 run home run if it's given to them. But Montreat going to have a little work to do here in the 6th and 7th inning. Only 6 outs left for Johnson to wrap up this victory.
We'll stay on air with this one. Dayton Kell will be looking to lead off going into the top of the 6th. Just want to look ahead really quick just to remind everyone. The loser of this game will have to advance, and they will have to play at 11 o'clock against Bryan. Against Bryan, or actually it will be the loser against Bryan and Bernal. So instead of doing a 5 o'clock game, then you can go and you have to lead off the day. And for certain people in certain teams, it is tough to start the day off at 11 o'clock and really wake up at like 7 or 8 in the morning, get breakfast, and come into the field, warm up, and then have to, stop yawning and play.
Right. It changes your routine. Most of these league games are played in the evenings, maybe some Saturday, afternoon games, but a quick turnaround for whichever team that may be.
So that last pitch was called a strike. Now the 1-1 count. Lindy Weber through 5 innings so far. She has pitched over 100 pitches, 7 strikeouts, 5 walks. Dayton Kell with that single right in the center field leads off the inning. And if I'm not mistaken, that is another inning where Montreat starts off on first.
4 in a row.
Baseman, number 27, Alana Hernandez.
And they've only been able to muster really 1 run out of it, but they've flirted with putting a few more across the plate. But now's as good a time of any if you're a Montreat Cavalier fan.
First pitch called strike. As you have Hernandez at bat. 0 for 2 on the day so far, 1 strikeout. And so now Dayton Kell makes her way to second. Now running in scoring position. Still no outs on the board. Hernandez would love to get on base. Even try to send Dayton Kell home.
Yeah, now with a runner on second, you didn't have to sacrifice an out to get her there.
High pitch swing and a miss. That brings Weber ahead in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Hernandez wanted that one. She took a monster cut at it, just couldn't catch up to it.
As Weber takes the pitch. That's a great line drive. And that's a great catch right on second from Thacker Wolf. Thacker Wolf thought about the double play to get Kell out. But that will bring out the first out on the board.
The catcher, number 15.
It's great base running by Kell to watch that play develop. If it gets through, she probably scores, but she has to wait and make sure it's not caught. Thacker Wolf makes a nice grab, and Kell gets back safely. So great offensive play from Kell, great defensive play from Thacker Wolf.
First pitch was called a ball. That is Henderson, who is at bat. Hannah Henderson so far 0 for 1 on the day, 1 strikeout. She walked on her first at bat, struck out her last at bat. Last pitch was called a strike. Now 1-1 count. Pitch a bit high, brings it to a 2-1 count. 1 out on the board so far.
Yeah, now here with 1 out, it really takes the sacrifice out of play because you don't need to sort of give them any outs. But that's a moot point if she lines out to short.
So the second line out in a row from a batter in this inning. And on that put out, that
Right fielder, number 42.
was Hood.
Wyatt.
Now you're back at the top of the lineup. Abby Wyatt, 1 for 3 on the day. She gets contact on that hit. That does go into foul territory. Brings to an 0-1 count. Abby Wyatt struck out of her first 2 at-bats, then got a hit right to left field, right in front of that left fielder. We're going to see a pinch runner. That is going to be number 11, Mackenzie Ritchie,
Running for Montreat.
sophomore out of Spokane, Washington, previous school, Northwest Christian High School.
4-1.
Bring a little more speed up there. In the hopes that Wyatt can punch one through this infield.
That pitch a bit low. Great way for the catcher to make sure it doesn't go past her, as Ritchie was going to advance her way to third.
Yeah, great job by Hampton behind the plate for the Royals. Blocking that one up, keeping the runner at home, or at second, excuse me, from advancing.
So now 2 outs on the board for Johnson. Would love to try to get this next out, as that is going to get popped up right into center field. Johnson continuing to just be super disciplined on the defensive end.
No runs,
For Johnson,
no errors.
what do they do to try to finish this off?
On to the bottom of the 6th.
I think they got a great start right there. I think that 6th inning was really important for Johnson. They gave her the lead up walk, had the runner on base. They were able to get out of that jam without any damage at all. They got a 3-run lead in the bottom of the 6th. Anything here that they get is just insurance. I think that they can come to the plate. They can be aggressive. I think they can take some chances, and if that works out for them, it's just icing on the cake, so to speak, and they'll put it back in the hands of Lindy Weber here in the top of the 7th. To close it out, but I think before that happens, they're looking to buy some insurance.
And we'll take a quick break here on AAC Softball Championships in Kingsport, Tennessee on SESN Network.
Number 4, Ella Hampton.
So now we're going to the bottom of the 6th. You have number 4, Ella Hampton, leading off. 1 for 2 on the day. Struck out first at bat. Single up the middle last at bat. Gets contact on her first attempt. Hitting the foul territory. 0-1 count. Thornton returns back into the circle. 1 inning pitch so far. 15 total pitches. That pitch thrown a bit on the outside. Goes down as a ball. 1-1 count. For Montreat, they've been as disciplined as possible defensively. Johnson has just figured out what to do to get those runs over them. That was hit into right field. First out of the inning. Johnson outdueling Montreat 7 hits to 6.
The shortstop, number
Yeah, and
14.
that's just when you take a look at that, the number of hits are almost identical, like you said, Deshaun, 7 to 6. But the difference is a lot of the ones from Johnson have been a little more timely with runners in scoring position, able to get a few RBIs, push some runs across, and jump out to the 4-0 lead. Then Montreat gets one back, but that timely hitting with runners in scoring position, so critical to win tournament-type softball games.
And just another, you mentioned a great point. I mean, with Johnson, just with those hits that they're getting, perfect timing, stringing along some runs, Montreat getting those hits, but it's hard to leave runners on in tournament play and still try to get those wins, especially playing against a tough team like Johnson.
You're exactly right. And, and we've mentioned this all day long, and we'll probably mention it all week long. It's such a tough conference, and it's hard to win any game. But, when you leave runners on, when you make a mistake or two, it makes winning that game or that contest or that tournament even more of an uphill battle.
Last pitch was called a ball, 3-1 count. So we're now in the bottom of the 6th. Thornton will look to take this next pitch. That will bring Madison Hood to first off a walk. Now you go back to the top of your lineup.
The center fielder, number 8.
That's going to be your
Sloan
center fielder,
Baldridge.
Sloan Baldridge. Baldridge right now, 0 for 1 on the day. It's now Hood. Makes her way to second, successfully stealing. So now you have another situation, runner in scoring position. And that's another thing that we've seen is that when Johnson gets on base, they're going to make an even bigger threat by making sure they can still get a runner in scoring position.
They've got speed, and a lot of times you will see runners, they won't try on the first pitch. They won't attempt that steal on the first pitch. They'll wait. They'll see. Maybe try to catch the defense napping a little bit. But first pitch right there, Hood was gone. Dives in safe at second. And, goes to what I said back between innings. You got a 3-run lead. You can afford to be a little aggressive right here.
So now it's Thornton. He's going to look to take this next pitch. Thought about throwing out at second. Goes for the 1-3 put out instead. Why not go for that second out?
Yeah, I think that was a play right there. She could have went to third or first. I think she went to first. The third baseman playing in, it's a little bit more difficult for her to get back, and then you have to apply the tag. So a lot more could go wrong, I think, if she goes to third. Go to first, get the force out, deal with the batter.
It's a perfect idea regardless. As long as you get that out, keep it simple. It's a win-win situation. Now you just need to force that third out. Make sure that runner in scoring position on third does not advance home.
You're exactly right, Deshaun. You talk and you listen to softball and baseball gurus. The idea in theory is you getting out every play, and Montreat got the out. Now you got to deal with the situation at hand, and another out here, and you're out of trouble.
That is hitting the foul territory. 0-2 count, 2 outs on the board. As you saw in that last attempt at bat, Morehouse was going for the bunt and was just going to let her speed do the rest. She wasn't trying to sacrifice. She was definitely looking to get on, and that would have helped at least get something. Because it would have been a tough way to field that, especially with how first baseman is playing not too close up.
With her speed and ability to slap the ball and put it in play, you've got third base guarding the line, shortstop playing in, second a little deeper, and first a little bit deeper. So not likely to pull anything. Whoa.
Lines out straight into the infield. That is Dayton Kell on that catch.
No runs, no hits,
So now
no errors.
we go into inning number 7. Montreat
7th inning,
needs
Johnson leads Montreat.
all the momentum they can have right now. Can they rally going into this next inning? Or can Johnson hold off, get 3 outs, and end it off and save it going into Wednesday? We will find out after this quick break here on SESN with the AAC Softball Championships in Kingsport, Tennessee. All right, top of the 7. Jeff, what can we see from Montreat? What is going to have to be their game plan?
I think they got to be disciplined at the plate. You don't want to swing at bad pitches. I think obviously you want to maybe try to work the count a little bit deeper, get the count in your favor, and it would all help tremendously if they get the leadoff runner on and then move her over, not with a sacrifice bunt, but with another hit. String some hits together.
First pitch called a ball. Lindy Weber continuing her day. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts, 5 walks, 118 pitches total. Last pitch called a strike, 1-1 count.
She's gone the distance in the circle for the Johnson Royals.
It's now Hernandez. Hits that in the center field. That is going to be first out. As Baldridge camped right under that, made sure to force that out. So, Maggie Knight up to bat. 0 for 2 on the day, struck out once. Montreat looking to see what they can get at bat. Johnson 2 outs away. First pitch a bit high. Called a ball, 1-0 count.
That first out in situations like this always very critical, and it's got a can of corn fly ball to center field and made it look really easy. Now Johnson just 1 out closer to closing this one out.
So that last pitch was called a strike. Next pitch called a ball, 2-1 count. Maggie Knight. Last at bat was fouled off into third. As now Maggie Knight gets great contact. That is going to go straight to right field. That is another fly out. And this time, Morehouse on the out.
You get those fly ball outs, it just makes it easy. I mean, you think back to kids when they first start playing catch. You don't start off whizzing line drives at them. You toss it to them. So that pop up is some of the easiest catches that these kids are going to have to make all week. And Johnson getting 2 of them here in the top of the 7th, and just 1 out away from closing this one out.
Fevsky now at bat. 1 for 3 on the day, 1 RBI. That next pitch was a swing and a miss. Last at bat was a single to left field. So now Weber takes that pitch. That is a bit more outside on that zone. Called a ball, 2-1 count.
Yeah, Lindy Weber, she's not just going to, throw batting practice down the middle. She's still going to make these hitters work.
Another pitch on the inside. Johnson felt like that was definitely a strike, but that goes down for a 3-1 count. So now Weber takes this next pitch. Beautiful, same spot, finds the zone, full count. Important pitch for Fevke and for Weber. And a swing and a miss, 8 strikeouts. She gets the win. Complete game for Lindy Weber. Johnson will take the victory. They will advance to Wednesday, and they will be playing and that will be a day off for them tomorrow. But I know they will be scouting some competition. Jeff, what did you see from Johnson that helped them overcome Montreat?
I was really impressed with Johnson. Lindy Weber in the circle. You know, when you look at her stats before the game, 1.79 ERA, 109 innings pitched, only had given up 84 hits on the season, 29 runs. She comes in, pitches a gem, 8 strikeouts, gets a lot of fly ball outs, and then her teammates really, supported her on the offensive side. 4 runs, and just a fantastic performance from a very well-coached Johnson Royal softball team, and they will advance to play another day here in the AAC tournament.
Hey, survive and advance is part of this tournament. So with that, Montreat will now advance to elimination game, and they will be playing at 11 o'clock. They will take on Milligan. Whoever loses that game, their season will be done. For Johnson, they will now advance to Wednesday, and they are going to have a situation of whoever wins tomorrow's game, that's their opponent. Next game we have is our final game of the day. Wow, we're already going to game 4. Number 3 seed, Truett McConnell. Number 6 seed, Tennessee Wesleyan. That will start at 5 p.m. on the Southeast Sports Network. I'm Deshaun Bullock here with Jeff Campbell. Jeff Campbell, any closing thoughts?
No, very good game. Been a great day of softball. Sure appreciate everyone for all their hospitality. It's been a fantastic day, and it's going to be a great week here on the Southeast Sports Network.
All right. If there's anyone from Johnson who will not be tuning in the next game, we appreciate you tuning in to AAC Softball and SESN. And same for Montreat, if you will not be tuning in, we hope to see you tomorrow morning. And thank you as we both sign off.
Want to watch your favorite Southeast teams in action? We've got you covered. Stream live games and highlights on YouTube, Twitch, Amazon.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for today's broadcast. This broadcast is a product of Shry Media, LLC. Unauthorized use, sale, or redistribution of this media in any form is strictly prohibited without the express written consent of Shry Media. Radio and television mediums are encouraged to reach out. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy.